Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside here in the park. Now get pumped up. He's leaning on a tree, folks. He's a nature boy. He's feeling fine. Make it loud for Eddie Pepitone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside. And if you don't think hours and hours haven't gone into the branding of this podcast, you are wrong. The only thing that stops us from working on this podcast is my allergies. They are terrible.
Horrible.
I've been itching for a long time, and so we haven't worked on the podcast. How is everybody? I hope everybody's good. I'm trying to do a stupid character up top. How are you, Kev?
I'm doing good.
We're in the park, so it's a little more loosey-goosey. Like sometimes when we're not in the studio, we don't do Bobby and the Mephistophelians, things like that, right?
It's hard. There's less smoke and mirrors that we can implement, in the streets. So we got to keep it super real.
So here we are, and what do we have to say? What do we have to say that's different?
That's different
than the last time we were together.
Well, we are here.
That's really kind of what life is like. What can we report back to folks who listen to us?
Yeah,
about
the world,
state of our consciousness.
Well, I'll tell you this. Were you surprised? I mean, we did talk a little bit about the midterm elections, but you didn't seem too thrilled about them, and I was surprised, but I haven't voted.
I'm glad that the most lunatic fringe of the Republican Party didn't win.
Yes,
but certainly not feeling any exultation for corporate Democrats winning.
You don't feel like all your problems are going to be solved?
No,
but they're controlling now.
No, and that's why I keep trying to do the artistic thing. Like, let me fucking come at it, straight on.
Yeah.
I
don't know exactly. I don't know exactly. I kind of know.
Hey, can we cut all that out?
Cut that out.
Hey, Bob. Bob, imagine we have this huge staff that nobody sees, and I'm like, Bob, will you just fucking cut that out?
Cut it. Yeah, we have a whole
all
team.
of that because we weren't ready. We weren't ready.
We had to bring in this artificial tree. This is all a set. It's we spent thousands of dollars on this set. Gosh, the dogs here are gorgeous, though. I will say that.
Dougie's running for balls, which is such a metaphor for what we do in this society, just running after things that we think is going to make us feel better.
Yeah, and then we bring it back, and we think we're done, and yet the ball just gets thrown again.
We just know, but we're always like, oh, maybe this will be the thing. Maybe this will be the thing.
That is the truth. Especially with entertainment too, because within entertainment, there's always an idea that you'll do something that then you can rest on your laurels because you've done that one thing, and now you're there, you're where you need to. But that's not the truth. You have another audition tomorrow and the next day.
Well,
it's always
also, it's not about that. It's about evolving as an actor, as a comedian. As a comic, everything evolving. Like this technology that we now have where we can go to a park and just do this is amazing.
Yeah.
And so this technology, I mean, the possibilities are endless with what we could do.
Yeah. It's amazing because remember on Back to the Future when you've seen Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
Marty goes back in the first one and he sees Doc from the past, and Doc sees the video recorder, and he's like, an entire studio recording studio right here in the palm of my hand, and Marty's just like, yeah, it's a video recorder, but it really is an amazing technology at the fact that we can do this. We don't have to rent like a $50,000 camera.
And the quality's pretty fucking good, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really nice, and just nice to know about possibilities, because I'm one of these guys who I do turn off possibilities sometimes because I get so righteous about a particular point of view, you know?
Yeah. It's easier to be a purist, you know? Dude, this dog's tracking that squirrel. He's going to get that squirrel, I think. Oh,
That's
my God.
a corgi.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love watching these dogs,
Yeah,
man.
me too.
So anyway, so it's not about, it's about evolving as an artist, trying to stay authentic, right?
Absolutely.
Trying to stay authentic, trying to stay truthful. What else can you say?
I feel like that honesty is a version of why you're able to be more free on stage and more loose, as opposed to like a Seinfeld kind of like, you know what I mean? Like,
man, yeah.
Because I know you're doing specific bits, but they're always in a flow of like where it just feels very natural.
Right.
And I think that is the honesty. You know what I mean?
Right.
That is just like, hey, I'm trying to present it. And even if something's not going your way or you're feeling off, you seem to address that too, which is hilarious. And it works.
Yeah, whenever I get into that zone of just performing and not worrying about how I look, or am I being funny? It's that and athletes talk about it, just being in this zone.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to sell these supplements to you. These are called Pennanines. I don't know.
Eddie Pepitone's
I ran out of steam early in that one. I just didn't feel like doing it.
No, I get it. The act outs, I was talking to my buddy about that. Anytime you start an act out, and if you're not feeling it, it sucks because you got to stay in it, like half-assed. At least that's how I deal with it. I'm like, all right, or I'll just drop it and be like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. And that's kind of the antithesis of what it takes to be a good comic, is like just fucking committing.
Yeah.
Committing to that instead of being like half, I don't know,
Full
you just
commitment.
Really commit to it. Yeah.
What's funny, I don't know if the last time you went to see a bunch of like open micers at any point, but there are some guys. It is very interesting.
What's it like?
So like there are
some
very
guys, roast battle-y now?
No. It's just a lot of bad comedy, for the most part. I mean, but what you
go ahead.
There's guys who commit but have horrible material, and that's really funny. That's really, really funny. There's this one guy.
That does sound funny.
He does full act outs where he's throwing himself on the ground, but it's not funny. Like it's weird. It's awkward.
Right.
And so me seeing somebody do something like that where he's really putting his heart into it and it's not working is just so fucking funny to me. And so I'm laughing, at the situation. But there's some good stuff.
That is funny.
You should go and sit in the back if you're bored one Tuesday afternoon.
I'm bored a lot, man.
Yeah.
Well, not really, but
well,
you can get bored. It's easy to get bored,
Absolutely. Yeah, you just got back from being on the road for forever.
Yeah.
You finally had a little break.
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's been good, except I am going through kind of what you're hinting at, which is, the adrenaline goes way up.
Yeah.
When you're on the road doing shows and all that stuff. And now I'm back and, last night, and I saw you at the Comedy Store. You taped it for my Patreon members.
That's right. Look forward to that.
Yeah, I did a 15-minute stand-up set, and it went really well. But it was very offbeat, which is why I am recommending it and feeling good about it. And I'm so glad you caught it. I was like, I don't know if I should let Kevin.
Always. I think if I'm there, might as well.
And tonight I'm in the main room. If you're listening, watching this now, it's December, what is it, 3?
Yeah, well, it'll be
3.
It's coming out in today's the 3rd, December 3rd.
So,
right.
This will be out in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Anyway, you got to give me a little Patreon tutorial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? And I'll wear little knickers, a propeller hat, but I don't want you taking advantage of me, sir.
Oh, I might have to. I'll be wearing my teacher's clothes with like a cape.
Hold on for a minute. Hey, Siri, what's the best way to protect the young? All right.
Siri had nothing to say.
No. And by the way, this is what I want this podcast to be, and I know Kevin does too, is like bursts of creativity. Like bursts of creativity. Like we're bullshit. It's like a boxer. This is what a comic does too. It's like a boxer who is trying to like feel his way out in the first round, and then boom, he comes on. You know, that's kind of what comedy.
Openings.
That's kind of what comedy is too.
My buddy was telling me in the car on the way to a gig we did last night in Palm Springs that he's like, man, I did this joke the other night that hit harder than I've had that hit in a long time, and ever since I've tried to redo that joke, it doesn't hit like that. But he played for me this recording where he was doing that. He found the opening, and then he rode the wave, and it was just this long applause, like laughter applause, and he's sitting there, and he's like waiting, and he's like, I don't know, and I've tried to recreate it, I can't get it, and I'm like, well, dude, let's listen to it, like figure out what it was. We couldn't figure it out, but the audience was going nuts, and I had that once happen to me in 2007. People laughed for a long time.
2007.
Yeah.
You're lucky. Last time I got a laugh was 1931. We just sank the Lusitania. And that wasn't even the biggest event of the day. The biggest event was my uncle announced having a new sandwich out for his deli. So it was this new sandwich, then the Lusitania sank, which started World War. Well, I think it was one. Hello, I'm Frank Reynolds, and don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
That's so true. So true.
Hi, yeah. My name is Rick Sanjin, and I'd like to recommend, here on the decks of the Lusitania, I would put down a light wax and then a oaky veneer. What do you think? And then, you know what? Like the veneer would be like a sheen. It would be a shine. It wouldn't be muted.
The high gloss?
You want gloss?
I want high gloss.
You want gloss? I got it. You want gloss? I got it. You want floss? I got it. We're the 99-cent store. We have everything from gloss to floss. You ever go into the 99-cent store and wonder, maybe this is how it ends?
Oh, God, yes. Because there's some shit in there, and I'm like, this is too good to be this cheap. Like, this is probably pure acid that I'm about to ingest. There's some good shit, though, there. I'll tell you that. I've gotten some plugs, some surge protectors over there at the 99. My house was set on fire.
So why don't we do a driving in the rain?
I love it.
Let's do it.
I love it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, join us for another Driving in the Rain with Eddie Pepitone.
I kept trying to get this motherfucker to start. Everybody's yelling at me saying I'm giving it too much gas. Don't you hate when people tell you you're flooding it? And you're like, flood, I can't wait for the deluge. And it started to come down on cue. I said out loud in my Instacart, /Uber, /Lyft, /DoorDash, /Bookmobile, /Bloodmobile, /mental illness evaluation mobile, /COVID testing site mobile. Anyway, I had to survive. This was my gig car. Yes, we're going to wage endless wars. This goddamn military-industrial complex, and the rain came down like shrapnel. The rain came down like shrapnel from weapons that are nothing more than death machines. And we know it. And that's how my day started. I was going to deliver. I had just joined Uber Eats, and I was going to deliver a hot pastrami sandwich to a dame who looked like she needed one. And the rain came down. It came down. It started pounding on my windshield like a 1,000 tiny fists, baby fists of rain just pounding on my windshield. And I realized that I was in too much rain. I had to pull over. You know, when the rain, you're in kind of a whiteout, except it's a washout. I was in a washout, and everything in my life had been a washout. From my goddamn medical training when I got kicked out of medical school to my goddamn dodgeball losses to my goddamn life. But now I was driving my Uber Eats vehicle, and I pulled up to her, and the rain came down even harder. It came down so hard that we realized there was nothing but rain. She got into my cab. I slipped her my pastrami. And there were moans. There were moans of delight. And I then had to keep driving as the rain crashed down like a society crumbling.
Thanks for joining us in another Driving in the Rain with Eddie Pepitone.
Hey, thanks everybody. That was Driving in the Rain. And remember, each Driving in the Rain goes, every time it gets a listen, that clicks into a database. Mm-hmm. And each time someone listens to Driving in the Rain, a little village that is way south, little village, we don't have the exact coordinates, will be getting all kinds of wooden objects for show.
Yeah.
So it's
every time.
So these are show items for little villages.
Yeah.
Down south.
When you support Driving in the Rain, you're supporting the arts in little villages.
Down south. Of,
wherever you're at.
Yeah. Let's do a guided meditation.
Oh, I love it. Do you want okay, we'll do it. Let's all right. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. I'm ready. And now, feel the breeze in the air and the smell of the green grass on Guided Meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
Everybody, hi. It's been a while, hasn't it? At least like it's felt like that for me. Maybe because I was hit on the head and knocked unconscious by a mugger. But I do not want you to think about that. I want you to be airy. I want you to be breezy. I want you to let God and the wind and all of our ancestors to flow through you. Welcome to Guided Meditations. I want you to see in front of you an absolutely gorgeous pear, a beautiful pear, a Bosque, a Bartlett, any pear, Bosque, Bartlett, a Brew. Just see a nice pear in front of you, and then what I want you to do is I want you to frog jump. Now, frog jumping is get back on your hind legs and jump toward God. I want everybody to just jump toward God with your in-breath now. Now we're going to start breathing. Hopefully you're in light-fitting clothing, and by light-fitting, I mean I hope you're naked, or I hope you are thinking of getting naked. All right, here we go. And with your first in-breath, I want you to see all of the hope that this world has to offer, and whatever God is to you. It's a loaded word, that word, but here at Pepitone Guided Meditations, the only thing more loaded than words are guns. Guns that kill thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans and people overseas. let's just say it's a death parade. But we don't want you thinking about that with your first in-breath. Take in a Christmas scent instead of all that. Christmas scent. Christmas scent, yes. Just because we've deprived the rights of people to love all over the world doesn't mean that you can't smell Christmas in a Christmas scent. All right, now let's all take that in. And everybody out there, I want you to realize that it's December in Los Angeles. If you can look around, if you're watching this, you can see we're bathed in a beautiful light. So let that out with your next out breath. Let that beautiful light out, but don't let the suffocating darkness in that are your fears and that are omnipresent. Now, we know our fears are omnipresent. We try to keep them at bay with Pilates, joining book clubs, learning Kijo, learning Taibo, learning Kuan-Ning, learning Feng Shui, learning, I now know how to rip someone's eyeball out. I now know how to rip someone's eyeball out with my claw and just rip it out and throw it in my... But where does that get me? So with your next out breath, I want you to breathe out all of that suffocating darkness. And now with your final in-breath, not of your life, but of this meditation, with your final in-breath, I want you to breathe in love. And I know that's a cliche, but love is the only thing we have in this world. So breathe that in. Do not breathe in hate, which feeds on itself. Hate feeds on itself. And that's what we're doing. We're eating ourselves alive, and we have to stop doing that. So don't imagine that with your next out breath. And good night, everybody. That's it for guided meditations.
But thanks for joining us for another guided meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
That would be funny if meditation, like places like ended big like that, like show business. All right, that's our guided meditation. Yeah. That's our guided meditation.
I'll be leading a guided meditation down at the Staples Center. Just as a huge stadium. There's fireworks, explosions on the stage. You guys have been great. You guys have really been deep tonight. I still think I still want to do like a full production version of you doing guided meditation on stage with smoke and stuff.
Where did we do it? Oh, they did it in, for me, Thomas Lewis.
Oh, really?
Who runs shows in Massachusetts, the Berkshires, and it was in Pittsfield, and we did a guided meditations live. But we also did
great.
one at our podcast
at the live
in New
one.
York.
Yeah. No, it was great.
How did that one go?
I mean, I loved it. It was awesome. My vision for it is, though, I want it to feel like I want it to be cinematic. Like I want to get Steven, I want to get Fine Arts in here to make it look real cinematic,
right? With
like smoke coming in, like it,
right?
That's
like Steve Fine Arts, who has been with me for years, and he's become a great comedy director in his own right. But he did The Bitter Buddha. He did both my specials, 3 specials, all that stuff with Steve.
And he's a great guy.
He's
easy to get along with, which is so special, which is so nice in this town.
I'll tell you one thing that adversity does to you, and L.A. and any big city can really throw a lot of adversity at you, is that you kind of are forced to reach into yourself for the best possible self to deal with that stuff.
You have to force yourself to kind of,
in a compassionate way, toward yourself and others.
That's always been the hardest. I'm much better at being kind and compassionate to other people than I am to myself.
Yeah, except you know what I've learned is that if you can't be kind to yourself, it means that the kindness you're showing other people is just kind of done out of expectation instead of really feeling it, because you got to feel it for yourself first. And that's why I drink bourbon. And bourbon is a great way to push all these things away. Bye-bye, feelings. My name is Bourbon, Frank Bourbon, and I run this town. And by town, I mean your psyche.
You are not wrong, by the way.
About?
Getting fucking hammered. It does solve your problems for a little while.
For a little bit.
For a little while. It's
You know,
you've never been a big drinker.
No. But if you want to get blasted once in a while, and it has some kind of therapeutic thing.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about like the evolution in your stand-up and whatnot. What do you think like the latest revelation you've had with that?
Well, I'm in this interesting place that comes from doing a lot of hours because I've been traveling a lot.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing a lot of hours in front of people. And what happens there is and this is a great thing, you just get really comfortable.
Yeah.
If you're really like being in the moment in these shows and not just doing, material that you've done forever and kind of doing it like, rote. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, you're not just going into autopilot and just reciting words.
Right. So it's been good for me because like last night you saw me. That was the first time I performed at the store in LA, which is, it's so good. The store and the cellar are both, 1A and 1A.
Yeah.
They're like great. And anyway, I performed last night, and normally I'd be nervous because I hadn't performed in a long time, but I just felt so like having fun with that audience. And I think that's from just doing it a lot.
Yeah. No, you were great. You seemed real loose. One of my favorite things is when to a point, there's some comics that are having too much fun. But, what I love seeing somebody have a good time on their set. And
well,
loose,
it's not like you're an arrogant, like, oh, I'm great, but it's like you're just having fun.
No, because some comics will be like that too. Like, oh, I'm a fucking, you guys know like where I could be right now, like just like, and they're serious, like, oh, oh, that kills me. Yeah, because the style that you're in right now, which I don't know how I would describe it particularly, but did you start out? Were you doing something different, like with your style before you because you kind of do the Hitler speech pattern,
which is high and low.
Where he goes, "Come on, guy, that's right."
Oh, really?
I call it the Hitler style of speaking. It's a great speech pattern.
Yeah. Well, I owe most of my intonations to Hitler.
That's right.
No, yeah. I don't know, man. That what you're talking about is modulation, and I learned how to finally do that when I relaxed a little. I used to yell out of pure fear and terror.
Yeah. Well, you talked about your first time going up getting sick. Like you said, you would puke.
Now we're talking about when I first started.
Yeah. Well, what was that stand up?
That was so scary.
Yeah.
All of this for me has been, performing. All of this is confronting fucking demons. It's like confronting, for me, and I think the people who stay with performing, for a long time are people who want to figure out who the fuck they are as close as they can to. Like, I don't know. It's a way to try to not be as confused when you're striving artistically,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, plus it's your own perspective of yourself, which is going to be inherently more unique than anything else. You know what I mean? Because it's you, and your perspective is going to be more unique as opposed to being like, what's up with rabbit pussy or whatever the hot material is going on.
You want to do an Eau De Pepitone?
Oh yeah, let's do one. By the way, I love these transitions.
I think that's kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah. It's great. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, a perfume of perfumes. Introducing Eau De Pepitone.
Have you ever decided to take more of your allergy medication? Then this is a perfume for you.
Pepitone.
If you are itchy, if you roll around in the grass a lot and you are not a doggy, then you may like this perfume.
Oh, wow.
Are you looking for a perfume that gives out a signal of emergency, of 911?
Pepitone.
Eau De Pepitone is 911 all the time.
It's an emergency.
There is an impending crisis in your adrenal and secretive glands that Eau De Pepitone opens.
I smell burning toast.
If you smell burnt toast, that's another thing. You might have a stroke. But if you are smelling something akin to a construction worker who has decided to leave his family and start anew in Monterrey, Mexico, then you have stumbled across the right perfume. This perfume is made in the back of someone's house in Van Nuys, California.
Residential.
In vats where they stir a viscous liquid and then pour it in to the traditional Eau De Pepitone receptacles, which are just jars.
Mason jars. Pepitone.
Eau De Pepitone is sold in stores that are under construction. They have not been built yet. Yet, Eau De Pepitone is being sold. So please, see it.
Get your hard hats, folks.
That was a nice one.
Pick up your Eau De Pepitone today.
No, by the way, yeah, I think the seamlessness of the show is kind of cool. The way it just, it's stream of consciousness. Let's see, we are at the, what mark are we
35.
at? 35, yeah, baby.
5, counting it.
We, yeah. So we're going.
I love it too because I do feel like it's a skill that not everybody can do. So
What's
to
that?
highlight it, to be able to just pop in, pop out.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
telling somebody because they go, "What are you doing?" I go, "Eddie never wants to do a second take ever.
No.
All these are.
Yeah.
He is committed, and
Yeah.
I love it. It's always amazing.
I
to
mean,
me.
that would be a different thing,
Yes.
to be constantly editing and redoing. That's like called a television show.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine how?
Which is cool. I mean,
And that would take you so much out of it too.
Yeah.
If I was like, you're like,
Yeah.
all right, breathe in, and I go, Eddie, come on, Eddie, if you could, okay, now make sure you're sounding a little more relaxed, and you're just like,
that kind of shit.
yeah, and you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
now start again, all
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, that would drive
Yeah.
me nuts because the flow is what it's all about. Like,
Yeah.
I love the flow. Love ant flow. I love
You like the flow. So let's do another little segment.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
done a few already.
Well,
What do we have?
We are in the park, and in the park,
Oh, boy.
you often ask yourself,
What are those squirrels thinking?
what are the squirrels thinking?
Oh, this nut is so freaking good. Boy, some days, I usually bemoan being a squirrel, but some days it's beautiful out here, and I find a beautiful walnut because it's the holiday season, and the humans tend to have walnuts on them this time of year. And I sink my teeth into them, and I think, Bob, that's my name, Bob the squirrel. I think, Bob, Things aren't half bad, Bob. Oh, here comes Ronnie. Hey, Ron.
Hey, Bobby.
How you doing? I found a walnut. You want a little piece?
Yeah, I
Here
love
you
a
go.
walnut. That
Here
sounds
you
real
go. Here you go.
good. Ooh, that's a good walnut.
So, Bobby, did you hear about the murder on the other end of the park? The 3 homeless guys. Did you hear about that?
Oh, yeah, it was a bad time.
Yeah. They weren't involved in the murder. It was a suburban threesome on the edge of the park in a house. They killed each other after having terrific sex.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, I just found a pecan. Would you like a little pecan? This pecan.
Ooh.
Apparently, somebody who loves holiday nuts. Yes,
love
have a little pecan,
Ooh, thank you.
Ronnie. Good, right?
Ooh, this is good nut.
Yes.
Ooh.
This is good nuts, isn't it?
I like a pecan.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I get to thinking, out here, and you're just out here with God and nature. A couple of walnuts, couple of pecans,
Wow.
lots of leaves, dogs, running for my ass. And I think, boy, it's great. It's great to be a squirrel in the middle of this prison military complex, It's good to be a squirrel.
You always get so caught up on the military-industrial complex. I'm glad that you're enjoying life.
You're such a simple squirrel, Ronnie.
I like the sunshine.
Ronnie, you haven't been the same since you witnessed that stabbing right in front of you, that home invasion thing that involved a park ranger.
I told him not to shoot. I
know. You witnessed it, Ronnie, and you'll never be the goddamn same, Ronnie.
I have a hard time
It's
talking.
trauma. It's trauma, Ronnie. It's fucking trauma.
Hey, could I have some more of that walnut?
Yeah, here you go.
Oh, thanks.
Let's eat for a little bit, okay? Hey, Ronnie, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Lick my ass.
Can I get another
Ronnie, fucking...
Just a little lick?
I'm just kidding, Ronnie,
Oh, I already did it.
Oh, hey. That was not bad. Look, Ronnie, I'm not going to turn you into something you're not.
Okay. I'll do whatever you want.
I
Give me
just
those
want to
nuts.
say that none of us, and I mean none of us, want anything to go bad, I one time, here's a bad story, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Boy, it is a beautiful day. Here's a bad story on this beautiful day. I one time brought home what I thought was a good piece of bread, and it turned out to be soaked with all kind of poisoning.
Oh.
And all my friends ate it. I had the good sense not to.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they're all fucking dead, man.
Oh, God.
Anyway, I don't mean to bring anybody
Yeah.
down because it's a beautiful
Yeah.
beautiful day.
The poisoning makes it less beautiful a little bit, but it's still pretty nice.
Shut up. Ronnie.
I'm out.
Shut up.
Sorry.
Hey, Ronnie,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. If I put this walnut right at the tip of my Johnson, will you go for it?
I have no choice. I have to.
Why? There's free will here, Ron.
I love nuts.
Oh, okay.
I'll do anything for a nut.
I see what you're saying. Well, I don't want to make you into something you're not.
I mean, if you want to.
Hey,
I mean,
you
I'm
know
right
what?
here, you know.
It's beautiful, though. It is beautiful. And the only thing this park needs is a couple of rubber tires on fire and some fire coming out of the garbage, the steel garbage cans.
I wish we had a tar pit a little closer.
A little what?
Tar pit?
Tar pit, yeah.
Just a little closer.
Oh, Ronnie. You know what? I think I'm just going to go climb back into the tree and lick my nuts.
All right, well, if you need someone to help you with that, I'm right here, and I love walnut.
Thanks for joining us for another What is a Squirrel Thinking?
Yes, sir, folks. What is a squirrel thinking? Indeedy doodah. Indeedy doodah.
I do love that. Like that. Yeah, folks, coming up next, we got What is a Squirrel Thinking, followed by Driving to the Raid. The radio, we could put something together like that. Do a full, what do you call that? Center of the road show?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Dude, I just want to chase these dogs around.
I know.
This whole time, especially like that big black one over there. That he's
Yeah,
so fluffy.
I think I know that big black one. Anyway.
He needs some love.
Me too. Anywho, so where were we? Oh, we never really mentioned kind of, because at the top, I got into just kind of being in character, but I have been on the road a long time.
Yeah.
And I am back, and it's a wild transition to, go from high energy to like, I needed the rest, and now I'm back to performing at the store, so that should be fun. I know we did kind of cover this before, actually.
Well, I think that the podcast is always like, people typically will listen to a podcast because they like who's on the podcast,
right?
And they just want to hear. We're just developing a friendship. We're just like, hey, friends, how we doing? And I think everybody likes to hear that inside baseball stuff periodically.
Oh yeah. We really did get incredible weather today.
It's insane. I love the ADD for the weather we've got going on here. Both me and you are like, we're in the middle of doing it. Like a cute dog walks by.
Yeah. I like all the doggies. Well, everybody knows that about me. I'm like just a dog freak,
I love animals.
That is rhino. I know that's bear and rhino. So anyway,
what would you say the most beautiful place you've ever been to was? Or one of the top 5 at least?
That is all in the like beauty. Seriously, is in, it's like what you feel and where you're at in your life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, okay, I remember one time being. It's in the Gulf of Mexico. It's called St. George Island, Florida.
Okay,
and facing the Gulf, and it was so gorgeous to me.
Yeah.
That summer, we rented a house for a week. That was years ago,
I love that. I used to go camping every summer with a group of guys, and we went to this place that was called Jackass Meadows because there was like free roaming donkeys everywhere. So they'd have pack animals, and once they would retire, they'd let them roam free up in this meadow that was in this big bowl. And I did some mushrooms with my buddies, and it started raining so crazy that it like was flooding with the camp area. But I was so in love with nature at that moment. Like I remember standing there like with my shirt off on this rock and just letting the rain come down. I mean, it was awesome. It was beautiful. I think it had something to do with the mushrooms, but just
probably. But I mean,
it was gorgeous.
But it's interesting that you say it has something to do with the mushrooms because, you're taking the mushrooms to get into that space, man. So this was a good opener. Opener podcast.
Feels good. We're back.
We did guided. We did a bunch of the faves. We're back. We're in the park.
We're feeling free.
So that was Apocalypse Soon, another podcast, and I really am convinced that one did not have any upside, right, Kev?
0 upside.
Tell them what they could do, these sons of bitches.
Hey, you bastards.
You bastards.
If you could do us one fucking favor for your whole life.
What is it?
Sign up at Patreon.
That would be nice.
Leave a review on iTunes.
Oh, yes.
Leave a review for this podcast on another podcast and talk trash about that podcast and how great this one is so we can create a rivalry between, say, Mark Maron or Joe Rogan or any of these big names that they'll go, what the hell? Why are people talking trash and then pumping up Eddie Pepitone? And then Eddie, then we'll all be millionaires by that time. So, like, subscribe, share, review, Patreon. Go subscribe on our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of content on there. And, that's it.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you next time on Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside. Bitch!